One of the great struggles that we endure as Christians in America, and that I hope that this show helps to address, is that we rightly divide the word of truth. All right? So as we look at immigration or spying, the government, in our government again, with egg on its face in Germany, as we look at the American narrative or any international narrative, we should do so through the light, through the grid of our Lord's holy word. Right? That's our duty. And every great heresy, every great error, they all have one thing in common. All of the heresies that have plagued the Christian world, all of the errors that continue to this day to plague the Christian world, have one thing in common. You ready? The Bible. They have the Bible in common. Right or wrong? I mean, the Arians, who were heretics, and the church roundly and soundly condemned the Arian heresy, they quoted Bible verses. No one is going to be able to affect and impact and lead astray the Christian community without using the Bible. If they came up to us and said, well, Muhammad said this, or Buddha said that, or Confucius said this, we're going to say, well, who cares? We're Christians. But when they take Bible verses to try and seduce people's thinking and pull them, for example, out of the political realm. Many of you, myself included, have gone to churches where they will use Bible verses to say, this is the devil's world. Come out from among them and be ye separate. Jesus said, my kingdom is not of this world. So they use these verses to construct an argument that we should not be involved in the political realm. And the great challenge for all of us is to rightly divide the word of truth and to look at what the church has historically held. Okay? Those are really key elements. And the second one is absolutely vital. It's absolutely critical. So people who baptize babies use the Bible. People who don't baptize babies use the Bible. People who say that the gifts of the Spirit are for today use the Bible. People who say the gifts of the Spirit are gone, they died with the last apostle, or they stopped with the creation of the canon, the New Testament, they use the Bible. All right? So rightly dividing the word of truth and looking at what the church has historically taught and always held, large C, these are the elements that will keep us out of hot water, out of error. And, one of the problems in the evangelical world is every man is his own pope. Everyone's infallible. Me and my Bible are infallible. Everyone's infallible except that dude in Rome with the funny hat. And this has led us to this cacophony of voices, and it has resulted in a lot of people being pulled out of the front lines. I remember going to one denomination once. I'll tell you one of my own sins. I remember once somebody telling me, this is years ago, early 80s, before I saw the light, and somebody talking about how great Jerry Falwell was, the late Jerry Falwell, for getting Christians involved in the political realm. And I said to him, we might find that when we get to heaven that he was completely wrong in doing this. Please, God, forgive me for those words. I was wrong. And I remember visiting 25 years ago a church in Tennessee, and the preacher preaching about clothing and about how his name was not pastor, because I greeted him. And I said, good morning, pastor. And he spent half of his sermon preaching against the word pastor being used. He was preaching right to me. And I left that church very angry. Not angry because I was being preached to about silliness, but angry for the entire denomination. Because I realized at that moment that those poor souls in that church, many of whom they really loved Jesus, that they had been emasculated, they had been disemboweled, they had been castrated, they had been put on the sidelines and made completely useless. They were the salt without its savor. They were the light that the bushel hid, and they were a part of the problem. They were a part of why America was dying. This is 25 years ago. Think of how much worse things have gotten. Much of our demise into the jaws of hell is the direct fruit of people with bad theology retreating, leaving the political and civic realm, and thinking that they're doing God a service when they do it. Lord, have mercy on us all. God save us. God wake us up. God restore to us a healthy, righteous, biblical, church history-oriented view of our duty in the civic realm. Jesus is Lord. I'll be right back. Do you want to get America out of the hands of wicked and unjust men and women who are destroying the republic before our eyes, and put leadership back into the hands of righteous men and women so that we don't die as a nation? Well, you're talking about social revolution, and there are rules in social revolution. We can look at the victorious social revolutions of the past, such as the end of slavery, the end of child labor, women's voting rights, the end of segregation, and so much more, and learn from their victories. Look at their actions, their images, their rhetoric, their sacrifices, and their final fruit. We will send you this series that originally cost $129, 7 books for students, 1 teacher's guide, if you'll give a gift of any size and just pay for shipping and handling. Take advantage of it today.